Welcome to Why Don't We Dress for Dinner Anymore with host Teddi Crockman, senior style icon.
And Melissa Pierce, who can't talk anymore. She's speechless.
I'm speechless, guys.
And she looks fabulous.
But I look good. And if you're listening, I just got my MBA at 48. Okay.
And what was your thesis topic?
Oh, we already talked about this.
Well, just say it.
April Fools. It was about leadership at small fashion companies.
Okay,
and
there you go.
What you can do.
She's an expert, so if you want to hire her, go ahead.
Yeah.
Don't take her away from me, though. I love her so much.
Consulting only, friends.
Okay, so anyway, topic at the top of the line. I would just like to say a few words. I had a wonderful photo shoot with this really talented young photographer named Marcus Jenkins.
Oh, I saw some of these on Instagram.
Oh my God, fabulous. It looked like a painting.
Yeah.
Like a painting. I'm actually having two of the pictures framed. They're so beautiful. I've never had such a beautiful picture of myself taken in my
Teddi, they work great.
I can't take my eyes off myself. I look so cute. But I don't have narcissistic personality disorder.
You just look good. You just look good.
But I have to say, Marcus did a fabulous job. His name again is Marcus Jenkins.
Hire him.
He is a photographer. I highly recommend him. The lighting was perfect. He took the time to just fix the f-stops and, the whole things with the cameras and the lightings on the side. And he just had a very simple set. I picked out a beautiful, Marcus's Instagram handle is MJEMJAY _photos, FOTOS.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Look him up on Instagram. He does beautiful work. And he had reached out to me and wanted to do a collaboration. I said, fine. I needed a gown to wear for the photo shoot. And again, I want to give a shout out to Omaima Couture. Omaima, and I mispronounced your name in the last Buddy episode because I hadn't met you yet, but I know her name is Omaima.
I love that.
Lovely designer, beautiful bridal and formal shop in Niles. Look her up. And she's on Instagram, Omaima Couture, OMAIMA Couture. And we'll put that
in
down
the show
below
notes as well.
In the thing. And I tried on about 4 gorgeous dresses. I mean, I couldn't even pick a favorite, but the navy blue one struck me because it had just a tiny bit of sheen. It wasn't like this big shiny dress. It just like when you moved, the light kind of went with the dress. And it was all pleated. It fit me perfectly. All we had to do was pull up the straps a little bit. And the dress went beautifully with the shoot. So it was a lovely experience. It was the first time. Well, actually, it's the second time. I also sat for a photography session for another very talented photographer, Skyye Kiimmons, and I'll be talking about him probably in a few episodes down because he's got a project he's working on called a 40 over 40, which is 40 women over 40 years old that he's taking.
You talked about him on Bella's episode as well.
He's going to turn that into a bigger thing, so I'll talk about that later.
Okay, but this photographer, remind me of his name again.
Marcus Jenkins.
Beautiful photographs.
Terrific photographs.
Yeah.
Very talented. He even made like he had his phone taping us recording us while we were doing the photo session so he could get behind the scenes BTS. I learned that was behind the scenes. He took some BTS and he made like a little reel. Fabulous. The reel looked like it was made in Hollywood. It was so good. So shout out. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Omaima. Both terrific. Omaima has her shop in Niles, Omaima Couture, and then Marcus Jenkins, he's MJ Photos on Instagram. Look him up. He's fabulous.
Okay, and he also has a studio. You can go into
He has a studio, very tiny little studio that he shares with someone else. He's like, again, trying to get his career in the fashion industry off the ground.
Does he do events?
He'll do events. He'll do videos. He'll do weddings. He'll do portraitures, which he's fabulous at. He'll do photo shoots, model styling photo shoots, anything you really need. He's an all-around really great photographer. That's awesome. I like to give a shout out to him.
Okay.
That being said, though,
let's talk about the 70s.
Melissa is the 70s. This woman was born in the 70s. Just give us a little twirl and a twirl back there. Twirl and a twirl, yes.
You can't see.
Look at the fabulous necklace.
Flowy everything.
She's got evil eye earrings on. Melissa's, your aesthetic really is boho chic. Every time I see you, she's always putting together very flowy, a lot of jewelry, mixed patterns, vintage.
I was really going for fashion's Mrs. Frizzle from the Magic School Bus.
I don't know who Mrs. Frizzle is. I think I'm too old for that. I know Tom and Jane and Dick and Charlie.
I'll show you the Magic School Bus, and you'll be like, oh, I mislabeled you, boho chic. You're definitely Mrs.
Frizzle. You are the queen of boho chic, and I have to say, you're right in tune, because in 2025. One of the big things that's coming back, you know how everything is circular, everything comes back.
Always.
The 70s is very, very big in 2025. Boho chic with, flowy blouses. The jeans have gotten more wide-legged. I have to give up my skinny jeans now. I went and got more upgraded jeans from Anita Bing, that's a hard name to say. She opened a shop in Oak Brook that Rachel Penka, who's our stylist friend, had an event there. And I got some upgraded jeans because I didn't want to walk. I love my skinny jeans. They're perfect in the winter. You stick a pair of boots on. They look fabulous. I don't care. I don't think anybody's going to take skinny jeans away from the landscape. But I did want to upgrade my jean look. And I noticed that these were really cute and they're more wide-legged.
Right, so more of a boot cut. No,
these are even wider legs.
Yeah, they do. They have a little flare.
Yeah, so we're going back to the 70s. Platforms, which I love, being a shorter person. Platforms can literally make me 5 inches taller, so I love that. Because then I know what it feels like to be a normal size. I'm not a bite-sized person. I'm more of a normal size.
I'm just going to call you a snack size now.
I am. I'm like, those little Halloween treats. That's me. I'm bite size.
Our next podcast, I'll just introduce you as like
the bite size icon,
snack size fashionista.
Snack size. Yeah, I am. I'm like a little snack size. So the platforms, I love that they're coming into fashion. What else is very interesting, I think. And maybe you could speak to this too, because I think you're a good vintage thrifter shopper.
I love
aren't
it.
You?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not. And you can see the tie-in between going back to a 70s look and the use of vintage, because you can find a lot of really great 70s vintage looks in vintage stores, I would imagine.
Right. Well, not directly from the 70s at this point, but when we threw back to the 70s before in the 90s.
In the 70s was too long. Those clothes would be like 50 years old, believe it or not.
Those clothes would be 50 years old.
Yeah. That's vintagey vintage.
That's vintage, and you would pay for it. And people will.
They do.
But yeah, vintage, especially with two teenage girls, all we do is thrift shop. That's the thing you do.
Fun. I got to get more into that. I was at that fashion show. It was a Sex and the City theme. I think I talked about it the last time. And it was given by a vintage store that is located, I believe, in Logan Square, and it's called Vintage Frills.
Mm-hmm.
And they have some fabulous vintage clothes there too. So if you're in the Logan Square area, you might want to take a little spin over to Vintage Frills.
And then we have those friends we met at Curio last night.
Yes. Now she was more like Jen.
She does the upcycling of vintage clothes, but I
she
think
kind of
that's
changes
kind of
the look of it by sewing things together and making them look different than they were originally.
Right. So. Especially given like all of the tariffs that are supposed to drop tomorrow or whenever you guys are listening to this. It's supposed to happen, but who knows
if it will or not.
But we're maybe people start buying things that are thrifted, that are more vintage, and it's going to play into, you've got this boho chic going on. You also still have castlecore still going hardcore, which looks great with all of this like flowy, flouncy stuff.
Right.
We're just going full on Game of Thrones.
Yes.
In the way that we're looking, we're like, how can we showcase our humanness, but also our power?
Right.
And I think that's really coming through in what people are wearing.
And what is one of the ways that you can show your power is through your pocketbook, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you buy is going to make a very political statement. And if you're not, now believe me, Designers don't get all excited. We're not telling people to buy new clothes. That's not what we're talking about.
We are telling them to buy sustainable clothes, though. So if you're in the sustainable market, let us know.
Right. If your aesthetic is sustainability, and we are going to have a designer on coming up, Titus. Who does the ripped jean kind of very fabulous designer, up and coming new designer. Titus
isn't a
and his stuff is all sustainable.
Yeah.
So he'll talk more about that when he comes on. But yes, we want you to support sustainable designers. It's not that we don't want you to buy new things, but I think what you pick and choose to buy, the origin of them, whether it's vintage or whatever, that's going to speak volumes to, especially a lot of the bigger, what do they call them? Not garbage places, but the places that just churn out the stuff in sweatshops like Shein and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You need to kind of stay away from that if you can. I am guilty. I do a Temu thing every now and then because it's $10 and I think, oh, what the hell, but I try to keep it, and I do. I keep it to a very big minimum. First of all, I don't want my house filled with a lot of junky clothes.
Right.
But, once in a while, you kind of go for a little bit of a fun kind of a thing that is not going to stay in your closet forever. So if you spend $10 on it, what's the difference? But I think that I am interested in learning more about vintage, thrifting, shopping, and that kind of thing, because I've never really been into it that much.
So if you run a thrift, what is it, like thrift vintage, tourism or a vintage
shop,
you should take Teddi on a little adventure.
Yes, yeah. I'll be glad to come out. In fact, I do have a vintage shop, and I can't remember the name of it.
My favorite vintage shop is Dovetail. Shout out to Dovetail. Absolutely
where's
fantastic.
Dovetail located?
Dovetail is in the Wicker Park neighborhood.
Wicker Park, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, oh shoot, I don't actually know what neighborhood it's in.
Okay.
Dovetail, fantastic.
But Dovetail, look it up. I'm sure they have internet presence.
Yeah, and then I have to give a shout out to Luvsick, which is vintage for plus size women. A friend of mine.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know there was such a thing. That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very, very good. So yeah, I want to get more into the vintage thing. The only thing that I have to watch out for, because I am a mature woman, is you don't want to look like you never got out of the clothes you were in when you were, like, for me, if I got dressed in full-blown 70s, you would look at me and say, Teddi, 50 years has passed. You need to update your wardrobe, because I will actually look dated in a lot of vintage things where younger people, it looks kitschy on you. It looks new. It looks fresh. On me, I'm going to look like I never got out of my 20s if I dress like the 70s.
My daughter said this to me about my senior pictures, and not because of what I was wearing. It was my makeup.
Oh.
So I showed my daughter a picture of me at 17.
Uh-huh.
Real stunner. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So picture of me at 17. And she goes, Mom, you look old. And I'm like, what? She's like, it's your makeup. Your makeup is old fashioned.
Really?
And I was like, oh, shoot, that's the only way I still know how to do makeup. I need it. Like,
oh, you wearing your makeup the way you were wearing it when you were
of course. I evolved after that comment. I was like, how dare you tell me my 17-year-old self looked old? And it was just like, if you remember those 90s, it was like a lot of angles. You had very small eyebrows.
Right, the thin eyebrows. Right,
it was a whole thing. But
see, my high school picture, I look like the all-American girl. I have just my hair in fact, the hairstyle I was wearing as a senior in high school, you could still wear it now. It was just almost the way I'm wearing my hair now, only it was turned under. And we used to do this thing. Here's my bang. We used to do this thing where you put your bang like over your ear kind of thing, Other than that, I just look like the all-American cheerleader in my thing.
I honestly feel like white people hairstyles, they don't change very much at all.
No.
Right? They just look how they look.
Yeah, and just that hairstyle, I could wear it. Actually, it's funny because I could wear it now and wouldn't look too out of style, but there's a lot of people my age that still wear their hair like that, with the under and it's long. And you look at them and you think, you're wearing the same hairstyle you had in your high school picture. Because to me, that's what it evokes. I mean, there's at least my hair now has, when I wear it straight and I wear it curly and all different kinds of things. In fact, I have a hair reel coming out where I'm showing all the different hairstyles. But at least I have it kind of, flipped up a little bit differently. But a lot of these women from my age group, they're still wearing the same kind of almost under page boy kind of look kind of thing, and it's like they never changed their hair.
Really,
my hair's been short, my hair's been blonde, my hair's been curly. I mean, curly, in the 80s, those frizzy perms and shit like that.
I had a couple.
So yeah, I mean, I always change my hairdos, but you are right. There are some people who they get into this one look and they're like that forever.
Right.
I don't want to be June Allison. I remember we used to make fun of, there's an old time actress from the 40s named June Allison. And she was darling, of course, when she was in her 20s and 30s, but her hair never changed. And later on, this is too funny. Listen to this. Later on in the 70s, she was doing commercials for Depends.
With the same hairstyle?
With the same hairstyle.
So people knew exactly who she was.
So June Allison was like at that point in the 70s, she would have been in her late 50s, early 60s. And she was doing a commercial for Depends. And she had the same hairstyle that she had in the 40s.
Oh, that's funny.
It never changed. June Allison had the same.
But people really associate certain people with certain haircuts. Michael, my partner, his friends and people that knew him in high school still call him Afro Mike because he had an afro. He hasn't had that forever. That's all, just what they call it. Like to distinguish from other Mikes, I guess, or because that was so defining.
Now, but you guys your youth was spent in the 90s. I don't remember afros being popular in the 90s. I remember them being hugely popular in the 70s.
Like Michael, he's younger than I am. So whenever that throwback happened, it was perfect for Michael's hair type.
Yeah. That was, I remember.
Me neither.
Even in my generation in the 70s, afros were very big, and they would leave the combs stuck in the hair too.
That's right. So you could
pick
it out.
So
otherwise,
and then it would you stick it in there.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for big hair to come back. I mean, I see women. I see women with it, and it's just lovely.
It has. In fact,
it's such a power move.
You see this episode. After this episode, or no, you'll see it before this episode, but we're having a guest and you'll already have seen her, a very popular model. Her name is Sharon B. And Sharon's got this great, big, gorgeous hair.
Oh.
And you've got to be tall like her to really carry it off. Because I would just look like a piece of shrub.
Now I'm thinking,
I would look like a piece of shrubbery. You'd say, Teddi, what happened to Teddi?
Now I'm like, oh, how am I going to have to place our chairs so we all fit in the shot?
Oh, yeah, Sharon's got huge, gorgeous hair. Very popular model. And her hair is very gorgeous. You know who else has got a huge, gorgeous hair? Is my friend Julia. She's got gorgeous, big hair. Beautiful, long, tall, sinewy body. Gorgeous woman. Gorgeous. And I mean, but you've got to have a certain length to you to wear that kind of hair because it's so much that, like a tiny person like me, I just couldn't carry it off. You'd think I'm like a walking shrubbery.
Oh, now if any of you have an afro wig, I want to see this actually.
Oh, I mean, beautiful. Julia's hair is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Charisse has got gorgeous hair too. Charisse owns a
You are going to have to supply me with so many pictures.
Yeah, she's got a small cosmetics company called Shop Fleeky. Fabulous lip glosses, the best lip glosses ever. Look her up on Instagram, Shop Fleeky. Charisse has got beautiful long hair, but she's always very glamorous. She's got glittery eyeliner on. You should see the artwork she does with makeup sometimes on Instagram. Just gorgeous, beautiful, But I digress. But when you said Afro Mike, that just
it took you on a journey to the past.
On a journey of all the people that I know with big hair.
All right. Do we have actually anything to talk about?
Well, we can end this episode.
Okay.
I'm getting hungry and we want to eat because we've got 2 more guests to interview today. Secret. Why Don't We Dress for Dinner Anymore? Films all of their podcasts in one day every month. So anyway, to wrap up this episode, I just want to review. We were at a recent curio mixer. And the reason I want to bring this up is because there was nothing spectacular about this particular curio mixer.
Like as a standout from all of the other ones, which are all wonderful.
Right. Right. But nothing, different happened in this one. But the reason that I want to bring up this curio mixer was because you really had your brain a moving that day.
I sure did.
When we went to go and they had like a cute photo booth, and the picture that we're using on our podcast now, we're holding like those 70 block phones or whatever. Mm-hmm. As we were standing in line, Melissa turns to me and says, it's been a year. And I'm looking at her like, a year for what? She goes, since we met. We met last year at this curio spring mixer.
Da-da-da.
It's our anniversary.
Happy podcast anniversary.
Happy podcast anniversary. Actually, our podcast did not debut until the following, I think it was the end of August or beginning of September.
Right. Well, you really kept on me about
by the time we got everything together and we got all our guests booked and all that. But we actually met last year almost at this exact same time at the exact same spring curio mixer. So thank you, Curio. You brought together two very creative minds that created a podcast that hopefully will continue to feature Chicago fashion creatives, along with a few people here and there kind of that we meet along the way or we find interesting who may not be in the Chicagoland area. But our main focus is Chicago fashion creatives. So happy anniversary, doll.
Happy anniversary. And have we even answered our central thesis question?
What is that?
Teddi, why don't we dress for dinner anymore?
I have no clue, Melissa. Why don't we dress for dinner?
Guess we'll have to keep filming.